On June 27, 2025, the Vilamora oil tanker, linked to Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet, suffered a powerful explosion in its engine room while transiting the Mediterranean Sea. The incident occurred roughly 150 kilometers northeast of Libyan territorial waters, as the vessel was en route from the port of Zuetina, Libya. The Vilamora tanker was carrying at least 1 million barrels of crude oil at the time of the explosion. The tanker was sailing under the flag of the Marshall Islands, a common tactic used by Russia's Shadow Fleet to conceal the true ownership and origin of vessels involved in sanctioned or opaque oil trade. This tanker has a known history of transporting Russian oil products, having docked at the Ust-Luga terminal in April 2025 and operating in the vicinity of Novorossiysk in May. Such movements suggest the Vilamora tanker was likely participating in sanctions evasion schemes to export Russian oil via third-party ports and intermediaries. The explosion highlights the growing risks and vulnerabilities of Russia's Shadow Fleet, a loosely regulated network of aging tankers, shell companies, and reflagged ships used to circumvent international restrictions on Russian oil exports. As of July 1st, the damaged vessel is being towed by the Maltese-flagged Boca Summit fire tug to Greece's Laconian Gulf for damage assessment. Maritime observers note that while the fire did not cause the tanker to sink, the incident raises fresh concerns about safety, environmental risks, and the murky operations of the fleet. The Vilamora ship is owned by TMS Tanker Lumabwind, Greece-based company headquartered in Marousi. It remains unclear whether the explosion was accidental, the result of technical failure, or potentially linked to external interference. No official cause has been confirmed. This incident adds to growing scrutiny over the role of Western-registered shipping firms in facilitating Russia's wartime energy trade. It may prompt renewed calls for stricter enforcement of maritime sanctions, inspections, and transparency in global oil shipping practices. Ukrainian aviation continues to operate actively on all fronts. In the south, a MiG-29 jet carrying a U.S.-supplied GBU-39 precision bomb successfully destroyed a Russian UAV crew position. The strike eliminated both equipment and personnel, disrupting enemy drone operations in the region and showcasing Ukraine's growing ability to integrate Western precision munitions with Soviet-era platforms. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky, has announced a ban on the concentration of personnel and military equipment, as well as the placement of soldiers in tent camps at training centers. I have heard reports on the implementation of measures to protect training centers from enemy air missile strikes. My uncompromising demand is to ensure and enhance the safety of personnel at training centers and rear training grounds. The concentration of troops and military equipment and the accommodation of personnel in tent camps are prohibited. Syrsky stated that new shelters, dugouts, and other protective structures are being constructed at training locations. Additional engineering solutions are being implemented to protect Ukrainian soldiers who are preparing, training, and recovering there. During a monthly service meeting on improving training quality in the armed forces, strengthening security at training centers, and addressing other critical issues, Syrsky stressed the need to comply with shelter requirements at training centers and ranges, and to ensure prompt and accurate air raid warnings. The Commander-in-Chief assigned tasks to enhance training, including assigning newly formed Army Corps to training battalions operating within unit training centers. Major General Ihor Skybyak, newly appointed Deputy Chief of the General Staff, will be responsible for training. Syrsky also noted that the duration of basic general training will be extended to 51 days, up from the current 49. In particular, 2 extra days will be allocated for teaching soldiers how to counter enemy attack drones. The Kremlin stated that Putin had a phone call with Macron. The conflict in Ukraine is a direct result of the policies of Western countries. For many years, the West was building an anti-Russian foothold in Ukraine, and now it is prolonging the hostilities, Putin told Macron. According to Le Parisien, during the phone call, Macron urged Putin to cease fire in Ukraine as soon as possible and to continue exchanging views with him. Ukrainian media report that after his conversation with Putin, Macron called Zelensky. It is reported that the conversation between Macron and Zelensky was constructive. The French president informed the Ukrainian leader about the details of his talk with Putin. The Kremlin's position also remains unchanged. Putin still shows no willingness to end the war. Putin's administration does not want to drag out negotiations with Ukraine. No one is stalling anything here. We are interested in achieving the goals we have set, those we are trying to reach through the special military operation by political and diplomatic means, said Kremlin spokesperson Peskov.
I will refrain, honestly, from evaluating the pace of the negotiations because, of course, the implementation of those agreements that were reached so far in the course of 2 rounds require time and require certain preparatory activities, specific activities for exchanges, for organizing the transfer and reception of the bodies of the deceased. These are time-consuming operations, so objectively it's difficult to talk about any significant acceleration here. The work on fulfilling the agreements is not being stopped or delayed.
Zelensky just signed the documents to ratify the agreement on establishing a special tribunal for the crime of aggression against Ukraine. The agreement, recently signed between Ukraine and the Council of Europe, must now be promptly ratified to launch the actual process of creating the tribunal. I've also instructed the preparation and submission of necessary legislative amendments to the Verkhovna Rada to ensure full implementation from our side. The German government will fund the production of 500 Leopards long-range drones. Welt reported on this, citing government sources. Specifically, the funding will be provided as part of a recently signed contract, which will enable the additional equipping of units within the unmanned systems forces with long-range capabilities. In addition, the German government may potentially fund other programs, such as the production of drone missiles like the BARS. Overall, the Ministry of Defense has not provided specific details about the types of weapons, stating that disclosing this information could reveal insights into the military capabilities of the Ukrainian armed forces. It is worth noting that funding for this initiative is not coming solely from Germany. In November 2024, the Swedish government also financed the production of Ukrainian long-range drones as part of its military aid. This approach provides direct funding for production in Ukraine, enabling faster manufacturing and delivery of essential weapons to the Ukrainian defense forces. Currently, the Leopards drones are the most numerous and actively used long-range strike drones that Ukraine employs to target both Russia's oil refining industry and military facilities. Thanks to its long flight range of approximately 1,200 kilometers, the drone can carry a 50-kilogram explosive payload. According to Militarny's own sources, its approximate cost is twice that of the previous strike drone, the Bober. The Serhiy Prytula Charity Foundation reportedly purchased the latter at around $100,000. Russia has transferred Pantsir-S, one surface-to-air missile and anti-aircraft artillery systems to North Korea, which are being used to defend the capital. Kirilo Budanov, Chief of Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, shared this in an interview with Irina Sampan. According to him, the Russian air defense systems are already on active duty, protecting Pyongyang. Russia is actively training North Korean personnel to operate these systems independently. Meanwhile, Russia expects to replenish its own army with North Korean citizens who will sign contracts with the Russian military under the guise of volunteers. It is likely that the Pantsir-S systems in Pyongyang are primarily intended to protect North Korea's capital from drones that could come from South Korea. This Russian surface-to-air missile and anti-aircraft artillery system is designed for close-range defense of civilian and military facilities. It is reported that the missile engagement range is up to 20 kilometers, with an altitude reach of up to 15 kilometers. The system is also equipped with two 30mm 2A38M cannons. As previously reported, Russian weapon systems were spotted on a new North Korean missile destroyer. In particular, North Korea was observed to have a missile that visually resembles the Russian 91 RE-1 anti-submarine missile. Additionally, the new North Korean missile destroyer has been equipped with the Pantsir-M jamming-resistant naval close-in weapon system. This system is designed to protect surface ships from modern aerial threats, including low-flying and small-sized drones. It is based on the land-based Pantsir-S system.
Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.